business can grow if you don't keep the customers at the center of the business. So thank you so much. We are going to move right on to the 30 minutes Q&A. So Doctor, can you help me? Let's just bring some of the chairs out here for our panelists. Then if you have your questions, get them ready. We are going to send the mic around. Thank you so much. So nice to have each and every one of you on this panel. So they're on the hot seat. So we truly want to appreciate you on behalf of Council of Nigerian Professionals for taking your time to come and to invest in us. You've invested so much in us, and your presentations were amazing and remarkable. We just thought having this Q&A session, people have questions, people have some ideas, they want to bounce it and hear feedback from professionals like you. So I am going to start with a few questions, but I'm going to throw it to the audience. So if you have a question, we have some mics around. Once you raise your hand up, we will call you. So I am going to start from my far left. What motivates you to do what you do?
It's a very good question. I grew up in a family where my mom runs a successful catering business. So I grew up around that, my grandmother before her. So I've been surrounded by entrepreneurship, and I started my first business in my final year in school. And how did it start? It was, I went for my IT, I read computer engineering. So I went for my IT, and my first paycheck, that was like the first time I just realized, wow, I can do everything for myself. I can buy stuff for myself without reaching out to my parents. So going back to school, I was like, wow, I want to stay on this part of independence. And I started my jewelry business. I ran a jewelry business and maternity business alongside my banking job before I moved to Canada. I had to ramp it down and sell off my things before I moved. So that was really how I started. It was being around entrepreneurs and seeing the independence that it gave them, and it was also something that I found that I could stay awake because of my business to talk to my customers online and things like that. So it really was something that kept me going, and I found very interesting.
Nice. So my next question is to Shola. So in what sector, in what areas do you see emerging businesses coming up? And what's your advice to Nigerians? How do we tap into those sectors?
Nigerians or Canadians?
Nigeria, we are originally Nigerian. We carry a Canadian passport, so we are Nigerian Canadian. Thank you. It's okay. And by the way, I do this. So I was in the middle of a huge presentation at work with so many people. Before I say it, I have said, praise the Lord. It's part of it. It's in the system. I can't change it. Everybody laughed it over and move ahead. So it's okay.
So I think the thing you want to do is to look out for sectors that are thriving. More often than not, it's also very important for you to understand that it's not good to invest in a sector that's dying. Think, for instance, typewriters. I wouldn't go and invest in typewriters because nobody's using it again. So it's called having an understanding of the economy. So, because when you ask which business is good, which business is bad, usually you don't do business because there's profit. You do business because you can manage it. It can be profitable for this person, but if I get involved, I'm not able to manage it. So you want to match whatever you want to do, number one, with a sector that is thriving, So, and that's why I try to run the data around. So the materials are available for you to read. If you're with me on LinkedIn, I post those materials from time to time for you to know what's happening in the sector. Typically what we see is service sector. There are more business service sector in Canada than good produce sector. And that's very normal to an economy like Canada, which is what we find in the advanced economy. There's more service than manufacturing. So it means that if service sector is thriving, I need to develop skills for service sector. So it means that if you come into this kind of place, you want to look at service sector, look at what's going on, and see if you can, be part of the service sector. You also want to look at something that you can manage. So you need to develop your capacity for that. It might be training, it might, something to pick up. And so that's what I'm thinking would be, appropriate.
Thank you, Messi. Next question is for you. So you've done it. You've gone to school. You run a business. What do we need to do to encourage our community to patronize more the Nigerian Canadian business so that we can grow these businesses?
I think a lot of it comes down to the integrity in who you are as a person and what you provide. A lot of me personally, a lot of like the vendors I like to use for the events I plan, I always try to use, Nigerian vendors. Because if it's a Nigerian couple that I'm helping plan their wedding, I always try to use a Nigerian vendor. With that in mind, I'm also very intentional. So I will let the vendor know, this is my value. These are the values that I come with. And I want to work with you, but I also need to know what your values are because we need to be on the same page. It's very important because, unfortunately with the Nigerian community, a lot of people don't want to do business with Nigerian people because they believe that, we're fraudsters, we don't have integrity, we don't do the things that we say we're going to do. And unfortunately, some of us have proven that to be right.
Yeah.
So what it comes down to is we need to start showing others and showing people that we're not that anymore. That might have been what it was in the past, but it's not what it is now. So any opportunity that you have, that someone comes up to you to want to do business with you, is an opportunity for you to turn it around. And it's an opportunity for you to show people that this is your value, this is who you are, this is your integrity. So for me, every person I come across, every person I meet, whether Nigerian, non-Nigerian, it's an opportunity for me to show them that as a Nigerian, these are my core values, and this is what makes me different from what you might have thought a Nigerian is.
Thank you. Amazing. So the next question is for Bay. What would be your advice for someone sitting here thinking of starting a new business? They want to get into that terrain. It's a new territory. What would be your advice for them?
Oh, definitely research. You want to make sure you do your research, and you also want to make sure that you validate what you do. Validation comes from you finding people who are interested in what you have to offer. So Pamela talked about value proposition. Somebody talked about value proposition. And it's the value that you're going to bring to that person. It's the solution that you're going to provide. So you want to make sure that you do your research and then you validate the business that you want to start, because you want to make sure that it's something that's viable.
Thank you. So I'd like to take some questions from the audience. If you have a question, just raise up your hand and the mic. Yes. And any of them will just get started. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My question is for Mr. Shala from BDC. Does BDC facilitate purchase of new or existing businesses or franchises, and what are the requirements?
Yes, we do. Well, I didn't actually talk about so much about BDC because that's not the forum, but maybe you could connect. But generally, they do. So a bit about BDC for your advantage. It's the only bank in Canada that is exclusively focused on entrepreneurs. And it's more so 75 years ago when BDC started. BDC started as Canadian response to what do we do with the manufacturing companies that were developing war machines. How do you convert them to be trade? So if they don't die, all right, so the government began to intervene to change those factories to manufacturing, corporate goods. And that was how it started. And over time, it grew. So typically, BDC will do three things. They will do financing like any typical bank do, but they only do loans. They don't do operating line of credit. And that's unique because they are they want to help you with managing your cash flow. So they will do loans to you that will relieve you of using your cash flow, to be able to, so it's easier for you, right? So you can get your line of credit from the charter banks. And then secondly, BDC will do advisory, will do consulting for small businesses. What we observe in Canada, for instance, is that the big businesses would probably go to Accenture, KPMG, Deloitte. All right, so nobody's actually catering to helping to give capacity training to small and mid-sized businesses.
Correct.
So if you see what I did there, 2% is only large and growing businesses in Canada, and 96% is small businesses. But imagine an economy. Canada is a G7 country with just about 30 million people. It has been a phenomenon for Canada to be a G7 country. Where's the market? So the biggest market for Canada will be US. Of course, you see the challenge is going through with the new government in the US, and you can see the challenge going through with even with China. So what Canada is spending time on is to develop its capacity. So what BDC will then do as a response is to also provide advisory services for small and mid-sized businesses. So to that, BDC is the largest provider of consulting for small and mid-sized businesses. And the last thing BDC will do is venture capital for businesses, tech businesses. And because you work with the government, we are also driving initiative to drive entrepreneurship. Women entrepreneurship, for instance, is a very strong initiative BDC. So BDC will have a fund for $1.2 billion for the last 5 years to fund women entrepreneurs. And that is showing because 39% of women now own business in Canada, as opposed to 14% in 1976. And so it's growing to 50-50. And Canada is the only country that has that kind of profile, because so women entrepreneurship, tech businesses, yes, we do fund franchise. So BDC will have small business group, we have the mid-sized business group, and we have the large-sized business group. So you're welcome to discuss with someone in BDC. As a matter of fact, that young man, that's what he does. Okay. We've trained. So okay does that kind of business. I did more on the large size, but okay will help you in there.
Fantastic, thank you. So we are making connections. So connect with Oge. Yes, Pastor Ken.
Yes, good evening. My name is Ken Asigime. Mine is two little requests. First, to the organizers, that if we could make available all the presentations on the WhatsApp group, and how else we can connect with them, so that we can go back and do homework, read up everything that you have written, so that they can remind us of the things that you have said, and then make informed decisions from there. And then number two is to suggest that whenever we're doing any of these business meetings, if it be possible, let's bring in an expert in the area of marriage, because marriage affects each and every one of us, and the deplete of the happiness hormones in any individual's life affects their creativity, even in the area of business. And it is statistically proven, nothing drains the happiness hormones in our lives right now more than marital stress. And for us to be able to combat the vices of this new society that attacks our marriages from home, I think we should bring in experts to help us cope with the culture clash, because success in our marriages would evidently become success and better fuel for our businesses. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a very strong statement. We were waiting for a question, but it makes sense. Thank you. The organizers will work on the materials, and we'll find a way to make sure we connect you, connect everyone if you're on the WhatsApp. Into planning. So the planning committee, they are all standing. We do not want the happiness hormones to be depleted. So take that. So I will go back to Pamela. Someone else. Okay, yes, just hold it. All right. Let me throw this question then. So there are a lot of benefits of starting a new business. There are also some risks. What are some of the risks that if you want to start a new business, you should keep at the back of your mind, you should be aware of? You need to be aware these possibilities are there, these risks are there, and you put appropriate response plans in place.
Okay. There's so many risks that entrepreneurs face. One of the first risks you face is copycats. Once you go into business and you launch, someone is going to copy your business model. especially if it was successful. People copy successful businesses because the customers like it. So you need to be prepared to plan for potential copycats. So it means that if you get going to the market really fast, get the customers into your platform, because if you have a lot of customers on your platform, your copycats will need to catch up. Second will be mental health. Being an entrepreneur is very tasking. There's a chance that you can fail. There's so many things that could happen. Like you said, your marriage can suffer. You have children. Like I have 3 kids, and I'm in school, and I'm working full time, and I have to be a mom, and I'm in Canada. I don't have help. My husband is there, but it's mentally tasking. So imagine someone who's running a business and has all those things around them. It's mentally tasking. So you might need like maybe a mentor or a friend that you trust that you can talk to, or your spouse. Just really look for outlets where you can try to manage that. One of the other risks would be, we're in a very regulated country. The way we used to do things back home is not the way you do things here. So you need to be, you need to really understand what the laws and rules and regulations are. Like there's a business I and my friend we're working on, and we'll be looking for lawyers to talk to, because we want to know if the way we are thinking of that business is the way it should be, or can we tweak the wording so that we don't have to really contravene any rules in the society. So there are a whole lot of them, but I think these are some of the and then you could lose your money. You could lose your money.
Thank you so much. So let's take the question. Yes.
My name is Lawrence. I'm a project coordinator in the construction industry. So first of all, I would like to applaud all the speakers. They really
Great job.
Now my question is actually to all of them. It involves marketing. Shola spoke about the service sector, which made a lot of sense. For instance, I want to get a building inspection certification, which if you do, from what colleagues have told me, it's viable. But the question is, how do you market yourself, not only to Nigerians, but to Canadians? So that's why it's... Thank you.
So who wants to go first?
For me, I would say social media is huge. Social media allows you to reach those that you would never meet otherwise. So, a lot of the ads that you're able to place on like Instagram and Facebook, take opportunity of them. They're important because you don't know who you're gonna reach. So the more you can expand that, the more you're able to reach a wider audience. But it also goes back to your product. If you want to reach, a large demographic, you have to ensure that your product is something that can go toward all those demographics. If I have something that I'm only catering to a certain demographic for, no matter how much marketing I do, it won't go far because my product itself is only geared to a certain demographic. So it's important to look at your product first to ensure that it can go far and then push it. So social media is important, word of mouth is important. Any opportunity you get to meet someone and have a conversation, that's also marketing. Talk about it. Business cards. I always tell people, you have to promote yourself. So I walk around with my business cards. It's in my car, it's in my wallet, it's everywhere. I don't know who I'm gonna meet, but if you can just make that eye contact, here, I'd like to give you my business card. Some might throw it away, some might, keep it, but you never know how far it's going to go. A lot of the customers that I have been from word of mouth. It's never anyone that I've met directly. It's, this person went to a wedding that you did and they referred you. Things like that, you don't know. So always just, any opportunity you get, try and market yourself.
Thank you. Anyone wants to add?
Yes. So in addition to social media, I'm very big on email marketing as well, because social media is borderland. Anything can go wrong. So make sure that you're building your database using email marketing. And how can you do that? You're into construction. I would first of all suggest that you niche down really, really closely and be really specific to who you serve, because they say that if you serve everyone, you're serving no one. So really make sure that what your line of business is really specific. And with regards to growing your email marketing, you have to start with what they call a lead magnet or a freebie. So I don't know what kind of construction you do, but if you have a quick download for people, 5 ways to choose a construction consultant, or something that you can share with people and start to get that funnel in and start to get people in your email marketing and on your email list. I'll say that you should also look into email marketing, but also know your audience and go where they are.
Very well, thank you.
So, thank you. One of the things I understand in working in businesses also, it's particularly from where you're coming from, a different culture to this culture. You hear Canadian experience. It's not just about experience at work. When people talk about Canadian experience, because that's what is probably going to experience beats, is understanding how Canadian do business. How Canadian do business. You want to go to business. Canada is a country that believes a lot in networking. A lot of networking in Canada. I mean, you find that you're going out with your body for days. It's not something that probably it's common at home. Yeah. Now, a Canadian experience would be, how does Canada see people in business? Canadian expects people for your work to be your bond. Canadian experience means we are fair. Canadian experience means you speak in a respectable manner. So people do, the rule is that people do business they're comfortable with. They do business they're comfortable with. Because I understand all these tools are very useful. So it's very important for you to understand that. Having said that, every business has their place of origin, what we call hometown. So think about the structure, we are talking about the construction industry, right? Oh, there are a lot of groups. There are a lot of conferences. There are a lot of programs in that. So once you begin to join that part of a group and you are displaying knowledge voluntarily, that's a Canadian experience. So you come into that group and they make like a conference you attend. Raise up your hand and speak like you know what you're talking about. You have become an authority. Yes. People like to defer to authorities. Yes. They like to work with people that know what they are doing. That's Canadian experience. So it's because I realized that those are very important things. That's one. Number two, you also want to work with influencers. You said you are working in building inspection. Who are those in that value chain? Yes. Real estate builders. It's very easy. They're all out there. So I'm going to connect one of them on LinkedIn. And I'm going to tell the person, I love what you are doing. It's fantastic. Do you mind going out with me for a coffee to explain to me a bit more what you are doing? Yeah. You just want to meet the person. All right. So in networking, understand, and that's one thing that I found out we did wrong. We feel that networking is an opportunity to meet someone that can help me. No, networking is a way to give. Yeah. So imagine in a networking environment, everybody is trying to scramble to meet this person for a card and everything, and you just come up with a person with a glass of water because the person has just finished speaking. You make a difference. It will leave everybody and just go with you. So you will never go wrong with giving. Start with that.
Fantastic. And part of giving also is, it is not just, yes, it's good, you give things, also giving back to our community. Yeah. That's one thing as Nigerians we need to learn. Back home, nobody really cares. You're on your own because you're a local government yourself. You create your light, you create your water, you are local government. But here, government has taken that off us. What are you doing to make your community a better place? I heard Mayor Torres speak yesterday, and he said people he's made in voluntary event. Yeah. They go somewhere, maybe to a food bank or to clean somewhere. He connects with people. Those are bodies he still have till today. So let's learn, let's change a little bit and let's start giving back through volunteering. It's so important. Okay, I'll take 2 more questions before we end. I have 5 more minutes. We want to keep to time. Yes, there's a question over here. So after that, any other questions? If that's the last, it's even better.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks again to all the speakers. The little research I've done, excuse me, around business, sometimes this pops up, that strategy. I guess the question for everybody: what role does strategy play in starting or sustaining a business? And what is even strategy? There are so many. I think someone mentioned the 5 quarter forces of. Apparently, is one of the fathers of strategy. What's the importance, and how does that drive the growth or the sustainability of a business? And then secondly, I think there's a question for Olusola. You mentioned business registration in different provinces in Canada. So if I have, because I also seen that you can also register a business like nationally, does that cover me working or doing a business in all the provinces?
Okay, so let's start with the first question. What strategy?
Okay, so let me quickly help you with that also. Strategy basically is thinking ahead, planning ahead. It's identifying gaps, where you are, where you want to be. That's strategy in a layman explanation. But in business, it gets more granular. All right, so you begin to talk about looking at the various processes of your business. So typically, every business has this process: marketing, which is driving lead, getting leads, or designing your brand. From marketing, you go to sales, which is now somebody buying. From sales, you have operations, delivering on your promise. From operations, you begin to get people to work with you, HR, which becomes a challenge in terms of service excellence. From there, you begin to manage money as they come in. Finance becomes an issue. You have to manage financial resources. And then, of course, administration comes in terms of. And then for administration, you have ICT, which is the whole tools to generate reports of what is happening. And then you also have innovation to ensure that you're continually, like she said, you're continually reinventing yourself to be competitive. The process of putting all that together in such a way as to make you continually relevant to creating value for your customer so that they don't go to another place is strategy.
I'll layer on that a little bit. Because when people hear strategy, it's really very daunting. Even to me, I don't like to hear the word strategy. But you can start to craft your strategy in simple ways. You can start like, who am I as a company? What are our products? How many branches do we have? Start with, who am I today and who do I want to be in 1 year or 2 years? We want to have 20 more locations. Do you understand? Start from the knowns, and from the knowns you start to know the unknowns. So this is who we are today. This is who we want to be. Start from things that are tangible. We want to have more stores. We want to add 5 product lines. Those kind of conversations. Once you have where I am today and where I want to be, you must, okay, we need to get 5 more stores. Or, for example, Ford, we're doing a study about Ford. Ford needed to comply with some rules and regulations that, I think, how much Ford was supposed to burn. And they said to use the Ford cars so that they could bring that thing down because they want their most powerful vehicles. So that was, today we're not using aluminum to build our cars. We want to use it next year because we want all the changes that needed to make. They had to change their factories to allow them build aluminum. How you start to build your strategy. So you can connect with me. I can give you a tool that can help you to build a strategy. But you can just know that as you grow over time, the more you do it, the better you get. And like you said, that's one level of strategy. There's also your marketing strategy. How are you selling to your customers? So if you know your customers, if you know I'm selling to millennials, that means I have to target them online, through influencers, through YouTube. You build a strategy around that. If you're selling to seniors, you can't go online. You're going to go through traditional means like television, letters. They love to go to the store and chat with the cashier and talk about their grandchildren and show pictures and about their children in Canada. You may want to be selling whatever or advertising from those areas. So that's kind of things that help you to build strategy.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And in everything we do, you must have a vision. Where do I want to be?
Yep.
They say a vision is a picture of the future that creates passion. Every time you think of it, you are passionate. I want to get there. That becomes the driving force. So final question for the audience as a parting gift for everyone. What will you say are the main attributes that differentiate a successful entrepreneur from an unsuccessful one? As a final gift.
I would say it's your authenticity. It's what makes you you. No one else can replicate that. So whatever makes you you is what you have, and it's what you can use to push.
Fantastic. Thanks. Next. Shola.
So I just want to answer the question. Sorry, you asked a question about registration. Because I don't want you to miss that. Registration at the federal level is different from registration at the province level. So there are different rules, like I said. All right, that's one. It's because the government and the province in Canada, they are enabled by law to administer certain things. So you just need to find out. Okay, it's different, and it's all available online. So okay. Three things that distinguish a successful entrepreneur from one that is struggling. One is vision. Because entrepreneurship is not just about starting something, it's about growing something. Entrepreneurs are not traders. They are value creators. They are disruptors. As a matter of fact, they define entrepreneurs as creative destroyer. So they look at status quo, they destroy it and create new ones. He has to take vision to do that. Number two, technical skill. See, don't go into something that you don't have a technical understanding of its workings. Every business must have product or service you are selling, and product that sells. Number two, technical skill. See, don't go into something that you don't have a technical understanding of its workings. Every business must have product or service you are selling, and product that sells, they are built on technical competence. I can sell water to anybody, but that's not saying that bottled water. When I'm selling water, I'm selling something that quenches thirst. But when I'm selling bottled water, I'm selling health. Because you can also get trouble through water. But once it's healthy water, it's more expensive. That's the product. And lastly, managerial skill. The truth of the matter is that entrepreneurs manage resources. But you see, those that do better are those that have created a skill to be able to manage resources. You have to manage resources. You have to manage people. It's management of people, management of money, management of time, management of resources. It's called management skill. So it's vision, technical, and management. Those are the things that I think.
Thank you. So big.
Okay, I'll just be quick with this. I'll say, focus, focusing on your focus, staying in your lane, taking action, and then consistency.
Fantastic. Pamela.
So you said a lot of things. So I'll just add on that successful entrepreneurs sometimes cannot do it alone.
Yeah.
If you go into a business, you can't be everything, developer and all that. Find a team. Your team could be one person who has a skill that you don't have, and that can help you go far. Second thing would be get an advisor. Like he said, technical skill. So if you're going into a particular industry, you may want to have an advisor or a mentor who has the credibility, knows the industry well, and might have a network that would help you to launch better and launch faster.
Thank you so much. Let's put our hands together for this amazing panel. Thank you so much. Thank you. I want to call on Mrs. Adejisola Atiba to give us the vote of thanks and the closing remarks.
I'll just leave you to stay.
Okay, so say you hold on for 1 second.
On On behalf of CMP, we just want to appreciate you all. I don't want you to go and sit down and then I call you to come up again. So yes, you do. Yes, you do. So Mercy Adeyonju, thank you so very much. This is on behalf of CMP. We really appreciate you coming out. Thank you. It's a pleasure. And Mr. Shalom Lupade. Thank you so much. You were so impactful. Thank you with your presentation. Pamela Anolefo. Did I say that? Thank you so very much. It's really, really amazing. Thank you so much. And Bayode Simpson, the side hustler. Thank you so very much. We really appreciate you. And my brother from another mother, who's going to take the picture? You need someone. Please leave that. Leave the camera for a minute.
You selfie.
So thank you so much for learning a lot from me. We appreciate you. We'll just come together. Can you just take all of them and then? Just spread out so that we can see.
Mr. Shola, hold out your certificate.
All right. Thanks.
So can we please all appreciate them? So just a few things. Is there anybody here that heard about CMP for the first time when this event was announced? Anybody? Wow. Wow. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for coming out. And because of you, I'm going to talk a little bit about Council of Nigerian Professionals. While all these amazing intellectuals were speaking to us, some of them mentioned vision, right? What is CMP's vision? So if you look at this, it talks about empowering people and improving lives. So how do we plan to empower people and improve lives? We want to look at the social, economic, and political arena to empower ourselves. Social, my brother talked about giving back to the community. I've met some of us that said, whenever people say giving back in Nigeria, it means they're getting something back in return. In Canada, that's not the way it works. We give back to show who we are, to show the positive parts of us. Somebody else said changing the narrative. We need to change the narrative. We need to tell them we are professionals because that's who we are. And we're the best at what we do. So CMP is all about social empowerment. Economic, we do need economic power. You don't have money, just keep your mouth shut. Pure and simple. How do you get economic power? You need to come to networks like this. You need to come out to events like this. You know, you've all done a great job by coming out. Thank you for coming out. If not for you, really, who are we going to be talking to? So we need to network. We need to help ourselves. Political. In the last political dispensation election, did we vote?
Yes.
If you were eligible to vote, did you vote?
Yes.
Because if you don't, you can complain, right? And did you support anybody? Did they see you in the community? Did you do anything out of the norm? Getting out of your comfort zone. We need to be the change we want to see. We need to show our face. We need to let them see that we're supporting them, so that when they're making decisions and policies, they'll think about us. We need to get engaged, get involved. Yes, Nigeria is a different ballgame. If I say I want to be a politician, I won't even get there. A politician, I won't even get there. Before you know it, they'll say somebody is dead. But here, that's not the case. There's opportunity. So please, let's take advantage of the fact that we're in Canada. There's something that they say that when you get to Rome, you behave like the Romans. In Canada, it is different. Let's get involved. Let's get engaged. And all this vision and mission, how do we want to
get it done. We want to make sure we're networking within ourselves. We want to be mentors to be immigrants to our children. We need to buy Nigerian businesses. For me, if you come to me 10 times over, I will give you 10 times over Nigerian business cards. Because we are awesome. We are amazing. We are professionals. Seriously, by the time we start listing the qualifications people have in this room, in fact, this whole Canada cannot take it. So why are we going out there? And I'm not saying don't go out there. I'm just saying start from home. I'm a Yoruba woman. Start from the beginning. Go. That my construction president. Us. Start. You can get a lot by starting with your own people. I would endeavor everybody to go to our website. It's www.cnpngo.ca. Like my brother David said, if you're new here, we will have a paper at the front. Please, we need your name, we need your email, we need your phone number. We will add you onto the WhatsApp platform so that you see all the relevant information that we post there. Some people post jobs. You know, you're looking for anything, people post it there. You get information. Mingle with your own people. So I want to again appreciate, thank you again to all the speakers, but I do want to do a shout out to my darling brother, Dr. Johnson Iyalade. Thank you so much. Please stand up to be recognized. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And the team that put this together. It's not easy putting events like this together. He worked there and like the invitation, he did it. He did everything. He's done about it. He's a PhD holder. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And again, I want to thank everybody that came. Also, just that you are informed, we do have an event coming up in December. It is end of year social. This is just to socialize. Enjoy, bring your children. It's going to be in Oakville, and it's going to be on December 21st. It's a Saturday. So mark your calendars. Yeah, you're happy because you live in Oakville. Mark your calendars. It's going to happen. We will, you know, there's something that Brother Akim said. He said, CMP is the sanest. In fact, that's a word I was not expecting, but that's really, really good. Thank you so much. Even though you belong to like 40, it feels that we stand ahead. So thank you, everybody, for making CMP the sanest. Also, I wanted to let everybody know that we do have t-shirts. You know, it's an NGO. We need money. This t-shirt, I've washed it 3 times. This is medium size. It's good quality, and it's $10. Okay? We have it where we have the snacks. So if you have $10, or if you want to do e-transfer, we'll take that too.
Or you want to give us $100 for a shirt?
Or you want to give us $100 for a shirt, we'll accept it.
Yes.
So on that note, I'll say thank you so much again for coming out. We really appreciate having you, and we look forward to working together to make Nigerian Canadians in Canada. Thank you.
Refreshment, right?
Yes.
So before we go, thank you all for coming, and I want to tell you that for the business community, this is just the starting point. So we'll be having webinars, so people want to know how do I do advertisement, we'll bring an expert that will do a webinar on how to do marketing. So maximum every 2 months we'll have webinars, so be on the lookout, and please also get involved. If you know anything that will benefit our community, send it to me. I'm going to share it with everybody. Something that you know somebody will benefit, please share it.